welcome. I'm Lloyd, and this is the Back in the Dressing Gown Diaries. Lots of chat from the fans last week. Where was the dressing gown? Well, last week it was my wife's birthday, and I was at my in-laws, and I didn't think it was appropriate to ask Grandma Jane to borrow one of hers. But there we go. So let's have a quick review of what happened in Test 1. It was everything I'd asked for in terms of physicality from the Lions. They were unbelievable in the first half an hour. Ty Burn, Tom Curry, Ellis Genge just smashing into things. McCarthy as well. The physicality was so high. Australia just couldn't cope with what they brought to the table. What it did highlight though, however, is the captain. There were shortfalls in where Itoje was. I expected him to be one of those guys you're going, wow, unbelievable, smashing into everything. He was just a solid 6, maybe a 7 out of 10. For me, that's not enough for a Lions captain. You need to be one of the best players on the pitch. So I hope he can bring more intensity this Saturday. There were other players that didn't quite hit their straps either. The wings seemed to have a few problems. James Lowe, when he moved across the pitch and found himself on the right-hand side, he had opportunities to offload, didn't take it, tried to go down on his own, got caught out, and the Lions missed the opportunity to score. Made a couple of other mistakes, Freeman as well, but the midfield looked like it really functioned well. The opening try, Tuipulotu, it's just classic Finn Russell there, seeing the space, taking a step back, looping. It wasn't even looped, it was a fizzed pass of 35 odd metres. Tuipulotu under the 6. Just great game management, great play. Gibson Park had a very, very strong game. His kicking was right on point, gave opportunities for the Lions to compete for it. But there are a few areas that they will look to improve. As I said, Itoje, I think, was only okay. There are areas, the wings need to perhaps look at things, but obviously there have been some changes this week. So overall, an amazing start from the Lions. The intensity drops off, but you'd expect that. I know Lions fans are frustrated that why did it drop down? How did that happen? But this is a 3-match series. They'd already made the point. They'd already won the game. It's really hard to continue that. You drop off by 0.5%, 1%, and it does make a big difference. But the Lions have more than enough in the tank. So I'm not particularly concerned about that drop-off. But Farrell's tried to address that with how he's reorganised the bench. He wants to see finishers come on, continue that intensity. Was Ellis Genge moving to the bench? It's a weird one because I'm sure he'll be frustrated that he's so-called dropped. But actually he's not really dropped. He's brought on to bring that intensity and make sure that the game gets over the line. So the MCG, what a venue, what a theatre of sport. So many take place. This is an opportunity for the Lions to cement their history on that Lions shirt, on that Lions chapter. This, they can win the second test and the series. They haven't won a series since 2013 when they were last in Australia. So this really is important. And the changes, so it's a shame that McCarthy was injured. There was talk that maybe Ty Burn would move into the second row and look to rejig the back row, but he hasn't chosen to do that. Chesham is a great player and has brought some intensity to this tour so far. I mean, the midweek game, again, it's tough to bring that intensity when most of the players know they're probably not going to get a test shirt. So hard. But Jack Morgan does come onto the bench, so at least Wales have a representative. I'm sure he'll make an appearance. The changes in the midfield as well. Gary Ringrose selected, but then pulled out with concussion issues. Incredibly selfless from him to know your own body. You know, rugby players notoriously are like, oh, just strap me up, I'll be fine. But actually head injuries is becoming far more prominent, something that World Rugby needs to look at and help develop in terms of what players do. But the midfield partnership, we were probably looking at an all-Irish partnership, and now we're looking at a mixed match. Bundy Aki in at 12 and Hugh Jones at 13. Hugh Jones has had a great tour. He was unlucky not to score last week with a double movement. Question marks over whether he was actually held in the tackle or not. But look, we carry on. What will the Lions be looking to do? They'll be looking for the same intensity early doors. Yes, Australia have got some big units back with Will Skelton and Valentini. But Australia will be trying to match the physicality that the Lions pack brought last week. If the Lions can get on the front foot, we know full well that the back line can score tries all over the place. The way they move the ball, and with Finn Russell just weaving his magic, there's opportunities to score, but it's all about the intensity that the front 8 can bring. It's probably, the back row, at the breakdown, they've got to be smashing people back, dominant tackles. Tom Curry has more dominant tackles than anyone else so far in this tour. He needs to continue that intensity, just literally throw his body into tackles. So Where are we going to be? Well, the bookmakers are offering the Lions by 10, and that's probably where I'm sat. It's a really, really good spread. Australia will, they'll try and nullify the Lions' intensity early doors and try and bring their own game expansive. Will there be any nerves from the Lions? I don't think so. They've been there, done that. This is probably one of the best Lions touring squads that we've put together. So do they have enough? Of course they do. Can they do it? Yes. Will they do it? Well, that's why we watch rugby, isn't it? Because even though they're a 10-point margin winner, according to the bookmakers, it's still in the balance. I've been thinking about Freddie's flutter, and it is hard because that 10 points is right on the balance of where I think it'll be. But I think you've got to back the Lions. It's an even money bet. You've got to back the Lions to win by more than 10. I fancy their chances. This is test rugby at its best. The amphitheatre of the MCG, 95,000. The sea of red shouting Lions, Lions. Why else wake up in the morning? Why else train so hard for this moment? Write your name in history, boys. Make it happen. This is the Dressing Gown Diary. Enjoy the test. Over and out.